Fernando Romero.
That's right.
Yes. You were born in Tucson, Arizona.
I was born in Sesco, Arizona. It's just a mining town south of Tucson, just a few miles south of Tucson.
And you told me once before that I remember that before going to school when you were 6, you didn't even speak English, right?
That's right. Our family didn't speak English in the family. My mother spoke English, and my brothers were going to school. They knew the English language, but my father didn't know English, so he didn't speak English with us. But my mother could talk with us in English, but the main language that we used in the house was Spanish. All the kids spoke nothing but Spanish, but they knew English. I mean, they were going to school. So we all had the English language was part of us. I mean, we go to school, we speak English, we wouldn't have any problem.
So you learned English
as youngsters
when you started going to first grade in school.
Right. We were bilinguals, you know. We'd talk in English when it was necessary, and in Spanish when we were talking amongst ourselves. Talk Spanish, or we talk English and Spanish, whichever was. But we were bilingual all the time.
And then you later in school you graduated high school over there in Tucson.
Yes.
And then at what age did you join U.S. Air Force?
The Air Force?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was around 18, I guess. I believe.
19, 18, 19? Right after high school?
Right after high school. Right after high school.
So you joined, you volunteered, right?
Oh yes. And again, this was one of the things that was kind of fortunate. I was pushed right into flying. See, I was as a mechanic there, and I got into the flying status, and I got into flight engineer, which was a title, and it was a position in the airplane. In other words, I had the position of flying the panel, the flight engineer's panel, and all that. And my responsibilities were, the aircraft belonged to me. Everything, including washing the airplanes, and that was a part that kicked me in the ass because it was the hardest part to do, you know. But
speak as loud as you can, so I can record the voice. So speak louder, okay? Tell me about your life in the Air Force during that time. You know, when you were learning to fly and you know, learning to become the flight engineer on a bomber.
Oh yes.
Just tell about it.
It was on the job. It was on the job training.
It was like 1944 or 43. Was it?
Yeah, around that era. Right after the war. Remember that was a war.
Was it? What base you remember that you were there for training on B-17 first, right? On B-17 What bases, what states were you?
California.
In California?
All of it was in California.
In Southern California somewhere?
No, some of it was right on the coast of California. That's where we had the best training, the more modern stuff that we flew out of California. And I can't even remember the name of the field. It was a very popular field. And again, there I could...
How far was it from Los Angeles or San Diego? You remember?
It's real close to Los Angeles. Yeah.
And then you were assigned to bomb group after the training and learning how to become the flight engineer on B-29 later.
B-29s, and we flew a couple more others. We had. They were just bringing those in that we got in. And they were new aircraft, but not. In other words, there wasn't anything unusual. There was just something that you could from where I was, I just got into the other airplane and flew it,
Mm-hmm.
because there was somebody was all about. But I did have the opportunity of, well, like we have a B-36 is a big airplane, and I was a flight engineer on B-36.
B-36 also.
B-36, and then we had some other ones, the big ones.
So B-36 was for training before
No,
B-29
no,
or later, after?
It was bomber. B-36 was a
B-36
big
was
bomber.
big bomber.
Big bomber.
4-engine,
It
no?
started, yes, and then we started out with the jet engines, jet engines too. So I was involved in those things, and we started. I can't even remember. I should have made notes.
But this was after war, later. After the war. So you got to the point where you flew some jet engines.
Yes, yes. It was jet.
You remember model of which one was it? Was it B-47 or B-46 or something like that?
Oh, the name of what they're rated was called? Well, B-36 was the biggest one. That was B-36. Well, B-29 is small. B-17 and B-20.
B-29 and B-36.
B-36 were the big ones, the big monstrosities.
I'll look it up on the computer. I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So how was? Tell me about how was flying? Because you were sent later to Guam in about 1944 with the 29th Bomb Group with 314 bomb wing, right? And you guys were flying B-29 from Guam to Japan.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
The round trip bombing Japan. Yeah. In 1944 and 45.
That's what we called it.
Yeah.
What do we call it? Honey.
Milk run? Was it? Did you call it milk run or what?
Milk run.
Milk run?
It was just a joke for us.
Oh yeah.
We never got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. We had
How old were you at the time?
Well, I was in my
23?
Yeah.
22?
No. I was 19.
19 years old.
Yeah.
And you were.
I was a captain who was a teenager.
Yeah. Wow. So you were at age 19. You were the
only thing that I couldn't
flight engineer.
The only thing that I
B-29.
The only thing I couldn't get was respect from my airmen underneath my, They would call me Fred, and I'd say, you bastards get me in trouble all the time. My officers, instead of nice, the comments that they put on one of my reports that said there was entirely unsatisfactory fall into the category as becoming a good officer because he is a very friendly people with work for him. They love him, and he is very brotherly with him, and they just wrote the hell out of me, and it ruined my career because they said that I wasn't even should not even receive the promotions that I was receiving. I was receiving captain by that time, and they felt that I was the guys that had me. Evidently, were very envious of me for some reason or other. I guess because some of the other pilots loved Fred. I mean, they used to fight to put me on the list for something that they wanted somebody who's a pilot, like a flight engineer, and they'd ask for me, and. So there was jealousy amongst them. I don't know what the hell it was all about, or just
that's interesting.
But it just kind of made me feel real bad about it because they were fighting over the damn thing, and they had nothing to fight about, But I don't know. It was just kind of messy, Well,
there's little politics, played in in military forces
and they-
sometime, you know. People
Yeah.
are envious because you progress better and you got promoted faster or something like that, right? Because you were good. So who knows? Yeah. But you remember once told me, you remember the time when you were flying on the way back from Japan to Guam and you turn off all 4 engines? Remember, tell me the story. What
Well, I
happened?
can't tell the story because I can't visualize what actually happened. But it was, it's tiresome. The engine behind, you've flown in airplanes for a long time,
Yeah.
and it got dizzy and all that, And I was making a log, they were very tight about log. You had to
Yeah.
maintain a log, and I was kind of filling my log, and putting all my attention into my log so that it would be nice and neat,
Mhm.
And I kept forgetting about how much fuel I had.
Yeah.
And I got with my pants down because they were asking me on my left fuel hours, how many hours of fuel do you have?
Yeah.
And I was just writing whatever. and we really had,
So you how much? So you found out that you had
more.
how much more fuel?
No. That
Uh-huh.
I was a lot more short than what I had told them. And so
Short on fuel a little bit, right?
that's right. I was short on fuel.
By calculation.
That's right. And by the top that I was giving the aircraft commander, and then when he asked me to go over that again and follow that time, and I told him that I had miscalculated. But I'll give you a new answer.
And this was on the way back from Japan to Guam.
Yeah.
And the flight was like, one way was like 1,500 miles.
Oh yes.
And you realized that we may
So
not
many
have
hours.
enough fuel, right?
So many hours that they had to. So anyway, I got out of that one all right, but they never got to the echelon. They never got to my commanders. My pilot, my aircraft commander knew, and he gave me hell for that. And I don't know what there was. A certain amount. Some pilots had a certain a difference of opinion about me. And so I was very popular with the pilots, and sometimes the pilots wanted me, and there's other pilots that didn't like me anyway had to take me, even though they didn't like me. So it's just childish, but it did go.
Yeah,
And it hurt me. That really hurt me because
I know.
I was there was some of those pilots that were kind of so angry at me that they'd make remarks, that I was not in their report. They would say Sergeant so and so is lacks ability to handle the necessities that a person like him in his position, he should be able to have a higher command because he is too friendly with the troops underneath him.
This is interesting, that you were too friendly, too nice to the crew, right?
Yeah, and
You should have been more harsh or
that was what
too friendly to the rest of the crew or something, right?
In other words,
Too soft.
They failed me in giving me a captain's rating because they said I did not have the prestige of being a field commanding officer. It's all right to pass him as far as lieutenant, but not a captain. We said I was not should not be considered for field grade commission.
But they finally, you became captain anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I taught him a lot
Yeah.
actually by activities and all that.
Uh-huh.
I had I had good lessons, letters from the pilots that I flew with, and that they liked me, and they had very good.
Speak louder, louder.
Huh?
Speak louder, so we can record the microphone. So you had good support from pilots.
From the pilots. The pilots.
Right.
There was. I don't remember.
Well, the pilots depended on your abilities to bring the plane back, because you were a flight engineer.
Faith in I could tell them where the aircraft was malfunctioning. It's you're using too much fuel, or some things that you could just tell what they were.
Yeah.
And they always believed what I was saying. And I didn't try to bullshit them. I mean, most of the time I'd say, I was on the contrary. I was saying, not a bit wrong with them. They'll have a high temperatures for a while, But I said we'll take care of that, and stuff like that, And with my pilots, they were very strict with me. They were not friendly. They were not very. Quite on the contrary, Oh, I got a bad report because the night that we were supposed to fly, I didn't know that I was supposed to be on that flight, And I had gone out and with the guys during the day, and I had loaded up. So when I got to that evening when we were ready to fly, I started feeling the hangover.
Yeah.
And I went out and threw up, and some jackass said that Fernando's getting sick. And what's the matter? And after asking me, he said, "I understand you had a problem." I said, "Yeah, I have the damn stupid I forgot what they call it. When I forgot the hell they call it. You get your stomach act up. You're not physically. You're not losing your ability to fly or anything like that, but you got that weakness in your stomach, and that's what I had, I forgot what they even had a name for that, but that didn't go against me anyway. They just talked about it.
A queasy stomach or a pain?
I had
upset stomach.
I was actually upset stomach, and
but you had to fly anyway, right?
I was in the flight controls. They didn't throw me up for that. They had somebody that could have. Normally, we always had an extra flight engineer anyway, most of the time. But
you remember the time when you turned all the engines off? Tell me about how this happened. This is a great story.
I can't even remember that because
and then all of a sudden, quiet. Yeah. The whole airplane is like a glider. And all of a sudden the whole stopped, the 4 engines stopped, and the crew, everybody stopped talking or whatever, And you were able to restart those engines.
Yeah, well, that was where the big problem was. That was the biggest blunder that I did. I was so frustrated at how stupid I was, and I rather than take each engine and put it into power, I toing all of them. The whole how many engines was 12?
Four engines.
12 engines went in at the same time, and the aircraft just It never scared me. I was never. This was the other problem with me. It never scared me when I realized what I'm doing. So I just add more fuel to it so that it would cool the engines. You know, more fuel, but not more power. You know, not fast RPM.
Yeah,
and
to make a mixture richer, right? More fuel.
And it built up a lot of smoke.
Carbon.
And the engine kind of slowed down naturally. The power went down, but it cleaned itself up, and it just came in and it just flew like a kitten. In the end, and this is a fact, I never had one that was failed.
But but you sometimes were experimenting with the engines, right?
I had problems
with the power settings.
I had problems with the engines, and I always found a way of getting around it.
Yeah.
And that's why my men that flew in this, I mean to tell you, they wouldn't get on another airplane. And it's just, I think it's so much in that case, it's I guess that they the people believe that they believed in me, you know. It wasn't that I was any better than anybody else. It was that they believed in me and that they liked me.
Yeah, they liked you, they believed in your abilities, right? That you're a good flight engineer, and they trusted you, you see? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because you were good. They knew, pilots knew, and crew.
I was very fortunate. All I can say is that for some reason or other, I was just fortunate. Yeah. Even when I made those mistakes, I made the engines, putting them in reverse, you know. I put them in reverse, and I didn't realize it until you feel the vibration on the engines, and I said, "Oh my gosh!" You know? And I went back and slammed them on the other direction, and the engines would boom up, and that whole engines vibrate and all that. And nobody in the crew knew what the hell was going on, so it scared the hell out of them. And I never told them what was wrong, and the pilot never said anything about it. So, only thing
they scared the whole crew, right?
Yeah, they couldn't figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And they, the pilot, because of his conscientious, he wanted to know if I should have all the engines checked, you know. And I said, I can keep on running them, and I can check them myself and see if there's anything wrong with them. He says, "Oh yeah, okay." The next thing you know, he had all the engines checked up. Let's see if they. And he told the engineer, the guy in charge of the aircraft, you know, he told him what had happened. So he said he was glad that he talked to him about it. And they had checks on him. They said there was nothing wrong with it. So the guy that read
was
that,
the big right engines, right?
No, there was right engines. Yeah.
Was it 12 cylinder or more? How many cylinders were there? Remember, 18 cylinder.
No, it wasn't the 18.
The big engines.
It was a big engine. It was a big engine.
Maybe 2,000 horsepower each engine or more.
Yeah, I can't even remember it much very clearly. But a lot of those things that happened, not a lot of things, not too many happened, just little incidents, you know. It was always very minor that I normally. We were in flight and turbulence and the aircraft were backfiring at the same time, and the pilot says, "Fred, give us a climb power. Give us
climbing power.
Give us climb power because that'll satisfy us rather than struggle with it." and the engines flew the control over the RPM, you know, the what the hell do you call it anyway? Not mixture control, RPM control was mixed, and they for some reason or other it happened that the knob that was supposed to be working slipped off of
the shaft, yeah.
a cab.
Yeah, the cab.
And the engines, all of them went up into runaway, way the hell over there beyond the RPM. It's 24, 20, 30. I don't know, way up. Thousands
Over
of
over 2,400 RPM,
yeah.
right?
And nothing happened to those things. Unfortunately, you were there, but they had to check the whole things out, you know, and they wouldn't let us fly those engines until they get them all checked out, which made a big fuss about that because it was very expensive to do that, you know. And they said it was my. I claimed that it was that I was negligent in controlling the engines.
Controls failed.
I should have had my hands on top of them.
Did you guys have problems with Japanese fighters over Japan sometimes?
We had very few. We had very few.
Very few.
Very few. In fact, if we were looking for them, so that we wanted to get a few on our belt, you know, and no, we only had.
The whole crew was 12 crew, including you, right? 12 guys on B-29, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But there was only so many gunners.
Yeah. How many gunners were there? You know, 4 or 5? Or?
No, more than that.
More than that.
No, they had. They had side gunners.
Tail gunner, side gunner, you know, underbelly. There was that in the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they had all
on the top. One was on top, I think.
That was another one.
In the nose, probably.
Yeah. So they had them all scattered all over the place, and from time to time they started changing their
And you were a lot of time during flight. You were on oxygen, right? How high were you guys flying usually?
We fly. We flied until we started flying pressurized. We flied at 30,000 in cruise, you know, in a long distance. But we had our oxygens handy. We don't have it on, but we just have it all. Otherwise, we just slip it up, put it in your, and in case of explosion of your cabin. No, when your cabin is pressurized, and they blow a window, those little parts of a window, well, your pressure in the whole aircraft, zoom.
So you had oxygen masks for emergency because
we always had it. We always have about
the cabin was pressurized.
Around 28,000 feet. You always have your
mask,
your oxygen,
mask,
and the mask on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very.
You remember time when you had to go through the test in a pressure chamber, right? Altitude chamber in the Air Force.
That was nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing. But it's interesting that for lack of oxygen at high altitude, when in the pressure chamber, in the altitude chamber, you realize all of a sudden you cannot think how much is 2 plus 2, right? Or 1,000 minus 1, how much is it, right? You cannot think. Your mind doesn't work anymore. Remember that?
Yeah, that's. I don't know. It's just all of those things to me was just a matter of fact of routine. In other words, either I had somebody seen it before, or somebody had seen it, that experience that I'm experiencing right now, you know, and it didn't bother me, so it didn't. Because, you know, some of those experiences, the kids that have it, you know, they always talked about it. They always said what happened to them and all that. You know.